And welcome back to the stream. We're playing I Get This Call Every Day. This came out a few months ago. If you've never heard of it, basically a gentleman who was working for, I believe, a Canadian government agency made a game expressing his frustration with his job, and he got fired because of it. And so this game got a slight amount of notoriety because of that. It's available on Desura, which is where I got it. So let's find out if this game was worth getting fired over. We're basically working from the perspective of the creator. We have a call. All right, so there's going to be a lot of choices that we have to make, chat. Unfortunately, I get that arrow on the screen every time I click off the game. Chat, number 1, standard greeting. Number 2, terse greeting. Remember, we're working in a government agency. We have a certain way we have to act. Now, the thing about this game is the challenge is getting to the end of this phone call without being fired, which I have to say I did on my first try. Will you do as well? We will see. Most of you are saying is number 1, we should respond with a standard greeting. That sounds right. No reason to be rude.
Hello, General Inquiries. My name is David. How can I help you today?
Yeah. Hi, I need to change my address.
All right. I wish it wouldn't darken like that, but I don't think there's anything I can do about it. He wants to change his address in this government system. We either ask for his SIN, I guess, an equivalent to a social security number in the US. I would assume that's what that is. Or we can explain our security measures. If you were in this fellow's shoes, you're working for a government agency, you got a call like this, which do you think is the better way of going about it? Explain security would be the security measures that we take when someone wants to change their information, such as this gentleman does. Most of you are now saying number 2. We're going to go with that.
Sure thing. Now, in order to change your address, I just need to ask some brief security questions. Can I start by getting your social insurance number, please?
It's 111-22211.
Thank you.
Okay, social insurance number is what this stands for. He gave us the number. It's invalid. Invalid. He's calling up this government agency, wasting our time with this number that's invalid. Chat, if you were a government official, someone rolls up wasting your time like this, how do you respond? We gonna tell him that it's invalid, or we're gonna say, nope, that's not right? You're saying number 1. You're saying we're gonna tell him that this is coming up as invalid.
I'm afraid that's not a valid social insurance number. Could you double-check the number, please?
Fine, let me get my wallet. It's 111-22233.
Thank you.
Was that so hard? I don't know what people are thinking, calling up, not even knowing their social insurance number. We're getting a name, Swarth, Billy J. We have to respond. Now, what these responses are, we're going to ask him questions to confirm that he is who he says he is. Number 1, we're going to ask him what his full name is. Number 2, we're going to ask him what his date of birth is. Number 3, we're going to ask him what his address is. Most of you are saying we should start this off by asking what the full name is. We have it on the screen. Let's see if he says it.
Can I have your full name?
Bill.
I'm sorry, is that your full name?
Yes?
Are we going to now ask him to specify with a first and last name, or should we tell him, that doesn't match, sir? That doesn't match what's in our systems right now. There's no option to detain, if you're asking. I have not seen any options to do that. Okay, most of you are saying it's number 1. He said it was Bill, so you're saying we should let this discrepancy go? Say, all right. What's your first and last name, sir? Bill.
I need your first and your last name.
Well, why didn't you say so? My full name is Billy Swarth.
Billy Swarth. Should we tell him that's close enough to what we have here? Should we tell him, sorry, sir, that still doesn't match? It's not quite exactly what we have on our screen, but I guess most people don't actually give their middle initial when introducing themselves. Should we expect him to do that, or not? Very split over how this government official should be acting, how diligent we should be in addressing discrepancies. Most of you are saying close enough is good enough. This would not fly in Glorious Astoska, but this is Canada, so maybe standards are different. We're going to go with number 1. Tell him that's close enough.
Thank you.
All right. Actually, let's just do this in order because I think we'll have to do them all anyway. So I'm going to go with date of birth next.
Can I have your date of birth, please?
November 10th.
Okay. He said November 10th. Chat, is that close enough, you think? Or should we just ask him what year? Okay, this is very much more decisive by the chat, saying that we cannot say this is close enough. We do need him to specify the year of his birth.
And what year was that?
1991.
All right. Do we just thank him? Because that is correct, so he got that right. Or should we point out that that's pretty young? Actually, I don't know if that is the tone that we would be taking if we said young. I'm not sure why would we say that in the first place. Okay, most of you are saying that we should not make conversation and point out how young he is. We're just going to thank him for getting that right.
Thank you.
Okay, now we go with address.
Can I have the address that's currently on your file?
1137 East 25th Avenue,
What city and province is that?
Alberta.
What city in Alberta?
Calgary.
I'm sorry, that doesn't match the address that we currently have on file. Is that your new address?
Yes, you said you wanted the current address.
Okay, I'm actually looking for the address that we have on your file. It's probably your last address.
Is it in Coquitlam?
The address that he gave us is completely different from what we have in our system. Not at all the same. Now, he's asking us if the address that we have here is in Coquitlam. Do we say yes, or do we tell him about the security measures we have here when it comes to changing one's information and identifying oneself? All right. It looks like most of you are saying, number 2, that we do need to mention the security measures we have here.
Well, these are security questions. I'm not supposed to disclose any information from your file.
Fine, try 50 Birch.
Okay, he's telling us 50 Birch, which is correct. He did get that right. It's not the full address, though. It's not the whole thing. Do we give it to him? Or do we tell him we really do need that full address? Yeah, if this was our Stoska, I would be giving the red stamp by now, honestly. This is just wasting so much time. It's just not efficient at all. We're going to go with, tell him that he needs to give us that full address.
I need the full mailing address.
50 Birch Street.
What city and province is that?
BC.
What city in BC?
Coquitlam.
Was there any apartment or box number?
Box 7.
Thank you. So we just need to go through some additional security questions in order to change your address.
What do you mean? I've given you my name, my address, my SIN. I'm me, buddy.
Okay, so it looks like the options are number 1. I guess we tell him about the law. Number 2 is asking who. I'm not sure how to interpret that. Yes, who is this me you're talking about? Okay, most of you are saying that we should address the law, because that is the most important part of our jobs, making sure that we're adhering to it.
I understand that, sir, but the law requires that we go through strict security questions to protect your account.
Whatever.
All right. We have a few choices now. We tell him that if he's going to prove to us that he is who he says he is, this me person, he's going to have to give us 2 previous addresses, the income from his last return, the details of his last payment, and representatives. Looks like most people are saying number 2. Actually, we might have to actually go through all of these, so we'll just do a vote for the first choice. Most of you are saying number 2 right now. So we'll do that, but I think we end up having to do all of these in order. So let's tell him that he needs to tell us about the income from his last return, which we do have on file here. Okay, so this is a question that actually might have an effect. Do we start this off with some kind of lead-in question to build up to what we really want to ask, or do we just come out with it and just ask the question? Remember, the whole point of being a government representative is being able to get the information you want while not upsetting people and still adhering to the law and policy. It's a fun balancing act. You're saying number 1. Try to ask something to lead into the subject.
Do you have a copy of your recent tax information?
You mean like a copy of my taxes?
Yeah.
No, I threw that out.
Threw out a copy of your taxes. How about that? Are we telling him that that he's supposed to keep that, or do we ask anyway? I'm not sure how this fellow intends to identify himself. Beyond a shadow of a doubt who he is, he's throwing out things like his tax returns. Most of you were saying number 2, we're going to ask anyway.
What was your net income last year?
My what?
Your net income.
Is that how much I made?
Yes, that is essentially your net income.
I don't know. I think I made about 10,000 last year.
Does not know how much he made last year. Do we tell him that doesn't match? Do we continue? Well, if we say it doesn't match, I think that just ends that line of questioning. If we probe further, we try to figure out a way of getting him to get this information, is I believe how this goes. Unfortunately, no 16-bit Claudes. There's no option to hang up. That would be in violation of our job, what we're doing here. I have to go with number 2. We're going to probe further.
Did you have more than one source of income last year?
No, I only worked the one job.
And you're sure that you only made 10,000 last year?
Maybe I made 20. I'm not sure.
Maybe he made 20, but he's not sure. I don't have enough red stamps to even address this. Do we tell him that 20,000 but not sure is close enough, or do we tell him that it doesn't match? Well, we're going to tell him that maybe it doesn't match, sir.
I'm sorry, but to get through this security question, we need your net income within $2 of the value that you reported on your taxes.
Yeah, so?
So, the number you gave me isn't even close. Let's try something else.
So that didn't work. So we might have to go through all of these. So let's go with 2 previous addresses. Maybe he'll have that.
Other than the addresses you've already provided, can you tell me 2 prior addresses you've ever had on your account?
50 Birch.
You already gave me that address. I'm looking for 2 prior addresses.
50 Birch is my prior address.
Right, but we haven't changed the address yet.
Can we do that?
We can, once we get through security.
Okay, so what do you need?
2 prior addresses.
Prior to 50 Birch?
Yes, please.
Well, I used to live in Saskatoon.
Oh, just in the general vicinity of Saskatoon? Just anywhere you pleased? Do we ask and to try to get him to say more, or do we specify, just spell it out for him, sir, it's the full address we're looking for? There's no option 4. Go with number 2. Say that we need that full address, sir. Really?
I need a full mailing address.
12 Regina Road, Saskatoon.
That doesn't match anything that I have on file. Is that the only place you lived in Saskatoon?
Yep.
Ah, that's not what we have, sir. That's not what what says here, sir. Do we go with number 1, try another address, or do we ask him for street or box? Most of you right now saying number 2, let's keep going with this address and ask him for a street or box.
Did you get your mail there at your house?
No, we had a box. Why?
Well, I'm looking for your mailing address.
Oh, okay. We had a P.O. box.
And what was the address for that box?
No idea.
You don't remember?
Nope.
Ah, that's super. That's wonderful. Doesn't know what the P.O. box is, and we can't tell him or give any hints as to what it is. Ask him if he has it written down, with choice 1, or try another address with choice 2. Arloa saying, ask your parents. Yeah, I assume they would know. If this person can just go ahead and just ask him that. You're saying, number 1, is it written down anywhere, sir?
Would you have the address written down somewhere or on any old documents?
No, I don't. Listen, do you remember the addresses of every place you've ever lived?
Do we tell him that yes, we actually do, or do we explain why we need these addresses? Remember, the idea here is not to win an argument against the gentleman. The idea here is to get the information as politely as we can, but also adhering to the rules. Most of you are saying is number 1. No, sorry, number 2. You said number 2. So we're going to go with explain.
We obviously don't expect you to remember everything off the top of your head. We do need to go through strict security questions, though, to allow an address change.
Well, I don't remember any of the other addresses. Can you ask me something else?
Sure, let's see what else we can go through.
Okay, so his previous addresses were just too hard for him. That was a no-go. Let's go with details of last payment.
Have you made any payments to us recently?
I think so.
How much did you pay and on what date?
$50?
And when did you make the payment?
Sometime last month, I think.
Sometime last month, maybe. I don't know, maybe. Do we tell him that sometime last month is close enough, or it doesn't match? It doesn't match, sir. Nothing you're saying matches, sir. It's like I'm talking to a different person that I'm seeing in the system, sir. Most of you are saying now it's number 2. We're going to go with does not match. No, doesn't match, sir. It's not the information I have here.
I'm sorry, that doesn't match anything that we have on your file.
All right, so how much did I pay then?
Sir, these are security questions.
So?
Do we... Let's see. I guess give date. I'm guessing what that is we tell him what the date is that we have in our system to try to get more details from him? Or do we suggest that he finds a receipt? I'm guessing that's what option 2 is. Most of you are saying it's number 2. That's reasonable. We can't actually tell him any of the information we're seeing here, I don't believe.
Would you have a record of the payment, like a receipt or a bank statement?
I don't keep those sorts of things.
Not even an online statement?
What do you mean?
Do you do any of your banking online? If you do, you could log into your bank account and check the transaction history.
My mom handles that kind of stuff for me.
Oh, really? So maybe there is someone who actually knows this information instead of you. Do we try something else, or do we ask for Mom's help? Okay, it looks like most of you are going to be saying that we're going to ask if he can put Mom on the phone, because she would have to know more than this guy does, which is nothing. He doesn't seem to know anything about himself.
Would your mother have anything that could help you?
She's at work right now.
Okay, well, we'll try another security question.
Yep, that's 3 down, 1 more to go.
Could you tell me the name of any representatives on your file?
What?
I like the answer to that. So this is going well already. Do we repeat ourselves, or do we explain what we mean by that? Looks like most of you are saying is number 2. We're going to explain what we mean by representatives.
What I mean is, have you had anyone do your income taxes for you in the past?
No, I do my taxes myself.
You do? Because you don't seem to note enough about your own financial information to do your own taxes. I don't know, I'm just putting that out there. Do we ask him, is he sure he does his own taxes? Or, I'm not sure what DIY, do it yourself. Maybe the second one asks to clarify what he means by does it himself. I guess that's what that means. But most of you are saying it's number 1, ask him if he's sure if he does his own taxes.
Are you sure?
Sure as I can remember.
Fine, we'll try another security question then. Well, we've gone through all the security questions we can go through, and you weren't able to provide enough correct answers.
What do you mean? I gave you my name, my SIN, my address. What more do you want?
So, do we respond by telling him that those were only basic questions? Or do we tell him that we really will need more information for him to verify himself as Billy J. Swarth? Most of you are saying is number 2. So I'm going to go with that.
Sir, we needed more information than that. Think back to all the security questions we just went through.
Yeah, well, I told you my net income.
You didn't provide enough correct information.
Well, what did I get wrong?
I can't disclose specifics, sir, but other than the core questions, you haven't answered a single security question correctly.
Come on, man. I need to change my address. My benefits come out this week, and it's going to go to my ex-girlfriend's house.
Oh, you're on government benefits? How weird. Wouldn't have expected that. Okay, so the options are number 1, when did you move? Number 2, don't care. So, okay, number 1, it seems to be that we are still trying to get information here, and maybe we've identified an option here for it. Number 2 is, whatever, not my problem. You're saying number 1.
And how long ago did you move?
Sometime last year.
And you're only calling now?
I've been busy.
Yeah, he's been busy. These things can get away from you when you're not actually, doing anything. All right, so we can call him an idiot. Or the second choice is we can try to identify the only options he might have left to identify himself as Billy Swarth. Some of you really want to go with 1, but most of you are voting for number 2. So we'll continue to be helpful.
You've basically got 2 options left if you want to change your address. Either call us back when you have some more information, or make your request in writing.
Okay, fine.
Would you like the address to send your written request to?
No, whatever. I'll just call back.
No problem. Thanks for calling, sir. Have a nice day.
Fucking asshole.
So how do we respond to that last line from Billy Swarth? No, there's still one choice left. Do we tell him that he can go fuck himself, or do we just point out that we are still here on the phone, Bill? And most of you are saying we should resist and go with number 2.
Sir, I'm still on the line.
Shit.
And that's I get this call every day. Yep. David Gallant lost his job over this game. Apparently, according to him, this is an accurate representation of what his job was like. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's the way it went when I played. So good job, chat. You made it to the end of the phone call without getting fired. Pretty much most any other choice that we could have made, I think, would have ended up with us getting an email from our boss telling us that we're fired. What's this song? Is this original music for the game? Is this the theme for I Get This Call Every Day? Alright, let's just go through like a run where we try to be as rude as possible and see what happens.
How can I help you?
Yeah. Hi, I need to change my address.
Can I get your SIN, please?
My what?
Your social insurance number.
That's private. Why should I give that to you?
Well, I need it to look up your account.
I'm only changing my address.
Yes, but in order to do that, I need to pull up your account.
It's 111-22211.
Thank you. Nope.
What do you mean, nope?
I mean, nope, that's not your SIN.
I'm pretty sure I know my own SIN number, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, sir.
Excuse me?
Nothing.
Listen, I pay my taxes, and I don't have to put up with this fucking shit. I want to speak to your manager now.
Okay, sure. I just need to put you on hold while I see if my supervisor's available. Shit.
Yeah, so the game can end very quickly. And I think most of the choices you make will end up with you getting that email, where apparently your manager is just fed up with taking calls from angry clients who you were not able to pacify. Yep, the song's going again. All right, so I think that's enough for I get this call every day. It's an interesting little game. I mean, it's interesting from the perspective of someone want to try to make a thing that showed people that the sort of work that he went into sort of expresses frustration with the things and people that he had to deal with on his job. As far as a game goes, it's not very interesting beyond that. Can I click on the album? That brought up a web page. Yeah, so that's not appearing on the stream. Yeah, so that brought up a web page where I guess you can buy it. So that's I get this call every day. You can could I drag it to the chat? Yeah. You won't see much, I guess, because the chat window's kind of small. But let's see what I can actually what I can get in there. Let's see. Yep, there that is. Alphabet Gym. It's an experimental concept album using acoustics and electronics about searching too hard for what is not there and finding that the warm embrace of others is the only way to find happiness. Album spans 8 tracks, 30 minutes, can be somewhat emotionally trying. It's really an attempt of capturing the emotional state of someone who does not quite understand how to be happy. Okay. So that's what that's about. Sorry for blocking you, chat, for a second. Okay, so anyway, that's I get this call every day. So congratulations, chat, for making it through the phone call without being fired. I honestly did not think you could. So that's I get this call every day. Back in a few minutes for another one-shot game for the night. See you in a few.